Welcome back to Singer's Shred Corner. Today we are going to learn the G major chord scale. Well, what is a chord scale? First, you need to know what a normal scale is, which is just single notes, right? Let's talk diatonic scale. Diatonic means 7 notes in the scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or some variant thereof. Let's start with G major, since it's one of the most common keys on guitar. It contains all the open strings in it. So G major would be, starting on the low E, G, A, B, next string, C, D, E, next string, F sharp, and back to G. You could of course continue this into the next octaves, and so on, which I'll show you in a future lesson. Now that we know the G major scale, let's create the G major chord scale. We will create a chord on each degree of the scale. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. What we do is starting at the root of the chord, which is the bottom note of the chord technically. So if we were to make a G chord, well, is it major or minor? To figure that out, we will look at the scale. We start at the G, skip the next note, A, and play the next note, which is a B. Then we skip the next note, which is C, and play the next note, which is a D. It's triad, so 3 notes. We're talking triad chords. If we were to play the G, B, D, that's an arpeggio because I'm playing the notes in the chord one at a time. But if we were to play them together, G, B, D, that is a G major chord. See how it sounds happy? As opposed to a minor chord, just changing one note, the middle note, that sounds sad. Happy. Sad. Now, luckily, the chord scale has both. 3 majors, 3 minors, and a special one, the diminished chord. Now let's check it out. The first chord, since we're doing G major scale, is on G. It's a G major. I'm barring my index finger across all 6 strings. Now look at this shape. This note here makes it major. That is the 3rd, that is the B. If we were to take that away, this is now a G minor, but that's not in key. We're in the G major key. Now this same fingering pattern can be used for any major chord that has the root on the low E string. For example, this would be a C major. That's a C. This would be a D major. So that makes memorizing these easy. G major, the next chord is going to be a minor. How do we know that? Because what's in the scale? A, skip a B, play the C, it's a minor 3rd, that's why. This is a major 3rd, this is a minor 3rd. Those are in the chords, they give it that happy or sad feeling. So we got A, C, skip the D, and play an E. So we've got what becomes sad chord, A minor. The proper bar chord, as I just showed you earlier, not using the middle finger, is A minor. Yeah, sad. The next chord is also a minor, if we use the same formula, B minor. So on this lower string, we've got 3 chords already. G major, A minor, B minor. Now instead of playing C major here, which would be easy, but we want to learn the shapes on the roots of the A chord as well. So a major chord on C, if we do that same formula, C, skip the D, play the E, right, the happy note, skip the F sharp, and play the G. So we've got a C major, but the shape has changed because the B string, remember, doesn't tune up 5 frets from the previous string, it tunes up 4. So instead of doing this shape, that note has to go up 1. If your ring finger is shaped with a perfect length because you want this bar to be able to play the high E, if you can bar that, these 3 notes with your ring finger and still be able to play this note that you're barring, then you are cool. You're able to play that easily. Some fingers may be too long and may kill this note, in which case you'll need to use 3 fingers like this. Not the easiest thing. Okay, so C major shape looks like this. The next chord is going to be D major. So take that same shape and move it up 2 frets. C major, D major. The next one is going to be E minor. So we're not using this fret, we're going back to this fret to make a minor. You might say, hey, that looks like the same shape I played down on the 6th string, which was a major, and you're right. And again, that's because the B string is tuned a little differently. E minor, just like this. If you were to play this shape on any other fret, it'll also be a minor. Here's A minor, right? Here's our E minor. And finally, the last one is not minor or major. It is diminished. It goes like this. Now these 2 notes together, it's called the tritone, or the flat 5th. It was actually called the devil's interval back in the classical times. The only chord that has that in triads is the diminished chord. So we will play it like this. There's no barring. F sharp diminished, then back to G. So our full chord scale looks like this. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. Play the G major again. These bar chords can be really tricky and hurt your index finger, especially for the first couple weeks as you're practicing and building your calluses, especially if you're not using an electric. I recommend starting on an electric because the strings are thicker on the acoustic and the strings are tougher, that bronze. So make sure you can hear every note when you're barring, that you're not killing any notes. Pick them individually to make sure. Practice up. Now the very cool thing about this is the order of the chords, the sequences of the chord in a major key, the chord scale, is exactly the same in any other major key. What does that mean? Well, we played major, minor, minor as we ascend the scale, major, major, minor, diminished. So if we were to do an A major chord scale, it's a normal scale, chord scale is still going to be major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and back to major. Awesome. See you next time. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon. I have a ton of lessons, performances, and originals coming right up. We are just getting started. See you soon.